Today we're talking about something a little bit different, and we're going to talk about postpartum depression. Stay tuned. If you want to learn more about postpartum issues and feel all around better about yourself, be sure to click the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified of my upcoming videos. Let's get started. For those of you who don't know, I have two boys. One of them is 16 years old and the other one is 4. He just turned 4 in November. I have a history of postpartum depression. The first time I had it was with my first boy. And for me, it started like I would have a lactation consultant that came in and she started to say like, I'm really concerned about you because I had the curtains closed. And I remember her saying, you know, I'm kind of concerned about you. And I know that's a long time ago, 16 years, but there's some moments that are very, very vivid for me still. I just felt like I just need a little bit of sleep. And once I get sleep, I'll feel better. That was the first thing that I kept saying. I thought, I'm fine. I just need some sleep. And she just said, I'm kind of concerned about you. And I didn't take too much stock into that. I just thought, oh, okay, maybe I'll just open the windows. You know, no big deal. At the time, I was pretty young as well. I mean, I was in my mid-20s when I had my first baby. And I didn't have the best supportive husband at the time. He's now my ex-husband, which is good. But he wasn't very, he wasn't supportive. He was actually quite verbally abusive, and it escalated from there too a couple times. But that was one of the things that was the most hardest, is I felt really, really alone, and I didn't have anybody to help me out really. And I mean, it was really cool that you have this baby, and it was such a beautiful experience, but at the same time I was scared out of my mind, and things got worse from there. It's not as vivid obviously as this last baby, which I'll let you know what happened, but the first one, the biggest thing that really, really stuck out for me is I didn't feel like I had postpartum depression until I was almost at a year. And I didn't even know you could get that at the year mark. But for a year for me, I remember it very vividly. My son wasn't quite 1 year old, actually. It was just before. And I remember my sister was in town and we were driving. I had dropped the baby off and he was with his dad, and they were at the lake, and I had to go run some errands, so I went with my sister. And I believe my niece was in there as well, and something was said that just kind of triggered something in me. I don't know what it was, and I freaked out to the point where my sister was rolling up to a stop in her vehicle, and I jumped out of the car and I started walking the other way, and I was so angry. Like I got out of a moving car, you guys. And that wasn't even the worst of it. I started walking, and she obviously circled the block and came out. Now, me and my sister have never, ever fought. Never. And she's older than me. She's 12 years older than me. She was kind of like a mommy role model to me in a way. But she got out of the car. She's like, Linda, get into the car. I was like, no, I'm not going. And I'm freaking out. And it was almost like being in a movie, where I literally was like putting my hands to my head, like, don't you understand? I don't want to be here. I was freaking out, and it scared me so badly. She's like, Linda, get in the car. What is going on? And she finally got me to calm down, and I swear to you, it was like looking at myself in a movie on the side of a busy road. I didn't even care. I would typically click care, but I didn't even care. I was so angry and just lost it. And she finally got me back into the car, and I just remember saying, please don't tell my ex-husband, I guess he was my husband at the time. I was like, please don't tell him, please don't tell him, please don't tell him. She's like, Linda, I'm not going to, it's okay. And I was freaked out. That was a Saturday, and by Monday, I got my butt into the doctors. It scared me so bad. And he ended up putting me on antidepressants, and it helped immensely. I was on them for about a couple years, and then I just weaned myself off of them. And don't do that cold turkey, because that's not fun. But I weaned myself off of them, and then so that was the biggest thing with my son. And me and my hubby at the time, we split up anyways. through all that. It was just a mess. But anyway, that was some of the things. Now, fast forward, I had my second son only 4 years ago. And so I thought I'd be really prepared, right? Like, it's not going to happen the second time. I have a supportive husband, da 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 da. And the same thing happened. Now, if you guys really think about it, you know, our hormones are a certain way for 9-10 months that you're pregnant. I was pregnant for 42 weeks. So that was like 10 and a half months. But our hormones are crazy different, right? When we're pregnant, and then all of a sudden they drop off when we have a baby. So of course our hormones going to be wacky, and that's going to be part and parcel. And it is crazy, the statistics that mummies in the first year, there's a lot who are in such dire straits that they end up ending their life. And so this is something that is not something you want to play around with. Even though for my story, I mean, it was the same thing. I was kind of coping as best as I could. Baby was up all hours of the night. I barely got sleep. My hair, you guys, was in a ponytail, side ponytail. I didn't even know what day it was. I didn't even know what day it was. And it was really, really tough. But again, around that 1 year mark is when it started to happen for me. And I know my girlfriend, we went to go visit in BC, which is about 3.5 hours away, is where my mom and dad live. But my girlfriend, we went for a walk, and we were walking, and my girlfriend ended up saying after, like, I'm really concerned about you, because I had anxiety like crazy. Like, we would be walking with my husband, and my little boy's walking, and I would be like, oh, he's gonna go on the street, and my husband's like, I'm watching. No, you don't understand. And I'm freaking out. And my girlfriend said, Linda, I'm really concerned about you. Like, I'm really worried about you. I don't know, I'm fine. It's just a little anxiety, not a big deal. But it started getting worse and worse. And more so, I saw it like near the 2 year mark, and I didn't go to the doctor, which is so stupid, because I thought I would be able to handle it. I just, make sure I manage my food and my nutrition, and make sure, I do a workout. And I was doing a workout, which did feel better. And there was times of feeling fantastic, but there was still that underlying not feeling good. And I ended up telling my hubby, finally, and this is only like 1.5 years ago, so I guess he would have been 2.5. And I started opening up to my husband, because, I mean, it's embarrassing, right? Like, we feel like it's embarrassing, even though we shouldn't be embarrassed. Like, we wanted to, I wanted to feel put together, and I didn't want anybody to know I was struggling, because that's not what you do. You don't tell anybody that you're struggling, which is really ridiculous, but at the same time, it's real for us, right? And my husband's a paramedic. And so I thought, like, with him being a paramedic, he'd be able to see what's going on with me, and he's very supportive. So this is the thing that when we're closest to somebody, they might not see the signs because they're with us every day, right? And it kind of diminishes. And I finally said to him, like, 1 year ago, I'm really not doing good. Like, I'm legit don't want to be around here anymore. Okay, I didn't think I'd be upset. Things were going on too, like, not just with my little one, and to be honest, it's really hard for me to be a stay-at-home mom. Even though I'm a working mom, it's hard for me. I feel like I'm not Martha Stewart, like I'm not a good mom that way. Whereas I don't bake and I do all these things. Like, I love my little boy and I love both my boys, but I'm not really cut out for being at home, and that's horrible. But at the same time, so we put my little one in daycare, and just even once a week, sometimes twice, which helps out a lot, and is really good for him to socialize, because we don't have friends that have kids at his age, so it's really good for him. But I wasn't feeling very good at all about these things. And so back to my hubby being a paramedic, I thought he would see it, but I would even verbally say, like, I'm legit not doing good. And I think I'm depressed. Like, I think this is what it is. And so some of the things I was doing is I wasn't working out. I lost interest in that. I stopped doing my YouTube channel for a bit, because my parents weren't feeling good. So on top of that, my parents suddenly took a dive with both of their health at the same time. And it was so crazy. As 1.5 years ago now. And I was going back and forth to BC every 4 days to take care of them, even though I had postpartum as well. Like it was just really crazy, and all these things started happening. And so I took a break from YouTube because I couldn't even function. Watching your parents at the same time decline, all of a sudden they're really good and they're not, and they're 79. My dad just turned 80 this year, but just watching them, it was absolutely awful, like going through anxiety and all these things, and my mom, and it was really rough. And then you feel like you have to take care of them, right? Because they take care of you. And I was going down and I was just freaking out, and I just got worse and worse. And there's days that I didn't want to be around. I just felt like, what good am I? Like, I'm no use to anybody. I'm not a good mom. I'm not, I can't even function. I can't think. I had brain fog. I still have brain fog for most times. There's things I am doing to get better. I only went to the doctor, July. I went to her, because I went to my other doctor and he just didn't care anymore after 20 years. So I went to a doctor in summertime, but before I get into that, like, my hubby, who was like, you're not depressed, like, you're not depressed, and that was coming from my paramedic hubby. But what I realized was he sees the worst of it. So when he sees postpartum depression and mommies, he sees like they're on the ledge jumping off, if that makes what I'm saying. Like, he's a paramedic, so they call 911. This is like 911. And so for me, to him, was not that major, but I'm going to tell you that he is super supportive. Like, I could do anything I want to do and he'd be backing me up. So fast forward, he ended up going to a course that was talking about depression and the different stages. And he came home and he apologized to me. He's like, I am so sorry. I didn't realize you were at this level on the scale and it was so bad for you. I had no idea. And so that was nice. But it was like, finally somebody is hearing my cries for help, right? Because you keep it to yourself, and that's the worst thing. Like, I didn't go out of the house forever. Like, I just wanted to stay home. He'd ask me, do you want to go out? Like, let's go for a walk. No, I'm too tired. I don't feel good. So if anything you guys can learn from this too, is you just got to tell somebody will, I mean, you know what? If you don't have anybody, then comment in the comments below, and I'm going to be there for you, because I know what it's like, and I know what it's like to feel invisible. And I just, like, friends around me didn't really know. Some of them didn't really care. And it was almost like I could just be in a different world and nobody would even know. And so why even be here? So I struggled through that. The only thing I did, so I went to the doctor and she ended up giving me a prescription, but she said, because I said, I really don't want to be on these pills. And for reasons for me was I've been having some really weird heart issues in the last year and a half, like palpitations and weird things. So I'm freaked, right, to do it. So I haven't started the pills, but I did something more natural, and I'll do a separate video for that because I think it would really help you guys. But I started doing that and noticed results like right away, like within the first week. In fact, my husband noticed first before I did. And so, which is really great. So I haven't gone on the pills, but I do have them. And there's some days where I was like, I should just take them. And so for you out there, if you take them, like, there's no judgment. That's totally fine for you. If that works, I mean, you need to get help. You need to get help. For me, I wanted to try different because I was just really worried about my physical health. So I didn't want to do anything because, I mean, that's part of the anxiety, right? So that's that in a nutshell. I mean, it's been really, really, really tough these last couple of years. I haven't taken time for myself. That's why I am making videos on it. Like, we have to take care of ourselves and find ways to do it. So if it's writing it in a calendar or whatever, like, I'm creating a power hour for myself, and that's gonna, that's gonna, and it is helping because I'm just doing these little things and testing out what works for me, what do I need, and follow that. So I really hope this is going to help you guys realize, not realize, but see that it happens to all of us. And I think it happens more than not. I just think some people hide it better than others. And like I said, I'm no Martha Stewart, and I see that was one of the things too. You see these mothers functioning, they have 5 kids in hand. You're like, oh, I can't even do it with one. Like, how are people doing this? I don't get it. So I think the best thing right now is, now that I'm back too, like I'm back, I'm feeling good that I can get back. But some of the symptoms, if you are starting to suspect, is different for everybody. And you could be depressed and crying really easily, difficulty bonding with your baby, you withdraw from favorite activities or from friends, super loss of energy and tired, maybe you're not feeling like you could eat. That happened to me too. I could care less. You could have irritability and anger, and outbursts, feel like you're not a good mother, restlessness, anxiety, panic attacks. I had panic attacks every single day with my first baby, and that was scary. I had it every day, and I would literally throw my head in between my legs and just crouch down and just try and breathe. That was scary. Feeling guilty, that happens a lot for me. Thoughts of harming yourself or your baby. I wasn't really thought of harming my baby. I was more harming myself in ways like I wish I was just gone from here, or I wish I was in another country, or just why even be here. It wasn't like I was planning how I'm going to kill myself, but for some people I think that's really real for them, or maybe they fantasize about that, because it was just like, oh, wouldn't it be nice just to be gone. And so yeah, it's not fun. It happens more, I think it happens to all of us in some level. I mean, there's so many women that go through it, and it's hard enough to be a new parent and trying to take care of a little one, somebody who's relying on you, and then on top of it, you're not taking care of yourself. So a lot of these things happen. You might be a mommy where you're taking a lot of self-care for yourself, but still going through it, and hormones are wacky. I mean, I went to a naturopath that helped, and she was trying to regulate me with my hormones, and it did help, right? But you have to be consistent with it. You have to keep getting checked, especially if you're going through it. I just would go up and down, and that's just the way life is. I mean, this past year has been one of the hardest years. I mean, with my parents not feeling good, and then they got a little bit better, and then I ended up having 4 deaths in the family since May. So I lost my cousin in May to a horrific crash, and then my cat died 6 weeks later. You could see my cat in earlier videos, and I just loved her to bits, and she ended up having cancer and she died. And then I had another cousin that died in September, and then my brother-in-law died in November. And so I've known him for 27 years, and it was not easy, even though my sister actually split from him a year ago. But he's family, right? So, and these things happen so quickly, and it makes you more sad, but at the same time you got to keep pushing forward. So I'm going to do a separate video to dedicate how we can help this out, but I wanted to come on here and say, like, you guys aren't alone. Sometimes people look like they have it all together, or their Facebook profile looks like they're living the life, but you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So if you don't have anybody to talk to, then talk to me, because I'm going to be right down there with you in the comments, and then get help, like, however you can. Whether you go to a naturopath, go get your hormones tested. I highly recommend that, because they can dig in, whereas a regular doctor, they don't even go to school for half of this stuff, or they don't have the resources to dig in, I should say. And some of it they just don't test for. So definitely do that. Keep up on your eating, because that helps a lot for my moods. If I don't eat, I have a really bad day, or if I skip a meal. So don't skip your meals. Make sure you're on top of that. Take good quality vitamin, and then see where you go from there. Exercise, that helps your brain, if you can, even if it's something. I know it's hard. I so know it's hard, you guys. But anyway, that's my story. I wanted to share it with you. Again, if you need some help, comment below, and then go find some help, because it shouldn't be something that we don't talk about. Like, why do we have to always look like the perfect mother and the perfect wife and the perfect person all the time? It's one of the things that I need to really work on, is being vulnerable and and here I am on here. You haven't seen a lot of these videos, but maybe I will do that. If I could help somebody in this world, then it'll be a little bit better. Anyway, click subscribe if you haven't done so, and make sure you click that notification bell so you can be notified of my next video, and click the thumbs up if you're going through the same thing. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.